Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. In these leadership training videos, I've been sharing with you thoughts, insights, ideas on how to improve your leadership skills, how to be a more effective leader, how to grow into leadership, and of course, how to be great leaders if you are already involved in the leadership space. Today, we're going to talk about a subject which I think as leaders, we very often forget. We very often get too involved in, and we very often forget just how damaging it can be to our leadership. Before we get into it, my name is Chris Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading, training and developing teams across Europe, Middle East and Africa, and primarily in the 5 countries that I have lived and worked in. If you're familiar with the process, please feel free to like, comment, and of course share any insights or ideas or thoughts that you get through the video, how they may be helping you, how they're challenging you. Feel free to ask questions and I'll do my best to respond to them. Of course, subscribe to the channel so that you know when other videos are becoming available. So today's topic, let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about micromanaging. And I'm going to be very clear, honest and open with you. Micromanaging is destructive. Despite what you may think, despite what your thoughts are around it, despite what people tell you, micromanaging is very destructive. And let me remind you, as I said, these are videos for us to learn and improve our leadership skills in many different areas. But let me remind you, the important thing is that if you are interested or you are intending to become, or indeed you are in this position of responsibility, you need to know that firstly, you are the leader. You are a leader. Second is you are there in order that you are the person leading the team, leading the company, leading the division, the department, whatever it happens to be. And all of this is wrapped up in your ability to be strong in your leadership skills and ability. So it's all about leading, first of all. So you cannot be and should not be micromanaging. If you're already doing that, let's just talk through some of the things that hopefully are going to help you in your journey. So firstly, why is micromanaging or micromanagement a problem? Well, here are some of the thoughts and ideas that I'm sharing with you. The first is that it breaks trust, not only between you and the person who you are micromanaging, but also between other people. Because I can bet you any money you like, because I've seen it, those who micromanage do not micromanage in an equal way. In other words, you don't treat the various individuals in the team or department in the same way. There may be some that you have a little bit more favoritism towards, some that you positively dislike. Whatever it happens to be, you will create inefficiencies in that process. So it means that trust between you and the person you are leading is going to be broken down. It actually stunts their growth. I speak a lot and have done over these videos about the fact that you are there to help individuals grow. It stunts or prevents them from growing. If you're looking over their shoulders all the time, how can they grow? How can they make mistakes and learn from it? And you show them how to correct them. It destroys confidence. It destroys their confidence because they're going to feel, I'm not good enough for this anyway. The boss is never happy. He's always looking over my shoulder, whether it's what time I turn up in the office, what the work that I do, the quality, and so on. It impacts their productivity. Now, inevitably, that's obvious. The more you look over someone's shoulder, the more scared, concerned and worried they're going to be, and less likely to be productive because they're always going to be wondering, have I made a mistake or am I making a mistake? And inevitably, it creates tensions within the team. Like I said, if you have a more favorite person in the team or the group or the company and you're micromanaging, but a little less maybe than somebody else you are, it creates tensions. And it creates tensions anyway because people dislike it. So here are some of the ways you may say, well, it's something that I'm born with, it's what I do, it's hard to get rid of it. Well, here are some, let's go through some thoughts and ideas first of all. So firstly, you have to resolve it. If you really want to be serious or are serious about being a leader, let alone a successful leader, you have to eradicate micromanagement. It is very, very destructive. So the first is you have to ask yourself, and this is a way in which I think it will help you. Ask yourself, if I was micromanaged in that way, or maybe you were already, how did you or do you feel? Maybe your boss is doing a similar thing to you. How do you feel? And as you work through that feeling, you'll get an understanding of how the other person is going to feel themselves. You'd say, okay, I do it, but look at why do you do it? Is it because you lack trust? Is it because you lack faith in the person that you are leading? Is it because you have some preconceived and pre-existing concern because you were brought up that way, or you've been taught that way, or maybe culturally that's the way in which you have been looking at it? So why do you do it? And try and eradicate the why, or come to terms with the why. And then look to work consciously to avoid it. What do I mean by that? Well, it's basically to say, okay, I know how the other person feels. It's not great. I wouldn't like to be treated that way. I understand, or I think I understand why I do it, so I'm going to try and stop doing it. Then you start to make conscious choices and decisions about stopping doing what you're doing. Because if you start to do that, you'll start to then, it'll be your point of saying, okay, no, I don't want to go and see him or her. I don't want to ask where they've been when they went for a meeting, or what time they got in, or whatever. You don't need to have that level of detail. So you become your auto stop. You check yourself before you get to it. So the key thing is become conscious of it, because you're probably doing it unconsciously. Because here's the problem. Whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, and by the way, like I said, I'm very clear, micromanagement has no place in leadership, absolutely none. So the long-term impact, if you don't believe what I'm saying, is people will leave. There's just no two ways about it. Now, maybe there is no other business or company in town. There are many circumstances, but broadly speaking, people will leave because people do not like to be micromanaged. It's as simple as that. There are many studies out there. You can consult them for yourself if you don't believe me. People don't like to be micromanaged. And if they do, they'll do it for only so long until an opportunity comes for them to move to another department, another company, leave the company, whatever. There will be for you, and this is really important, there'll be a loss of credibility. Because how can you grow a team that you don't trust? Or a team that doesn't trust you? It's just not possible. It's just not going to work. You will stagnate. So you'll lose credibility. They'll see you as a leader, but they'll go, yeah, there are better, there are others. He or she is not up to their expectation. Inevitably, you'll have an unhappy team and will get unhappier and unhappier, especially in today's world where everybody's got their own personal issues. Outside of the office or work environment, we all have challenges in our lives. Very often people bring it into the office, which is a whole different conversation. But with their challenges and everything else that they're carrying as their own burdens, they don't need to have you looking over their shoulders on everything they do. It'll just add to the unhappiness they have and therefore in the team. And quite frankly, it'll be emotionally draining for you. It will be for them as well, but for you as a leader, especially if they're not performing. You're looking over their shoulder all the time. Well, you're discouraging them. They're not going to want to work any harder, especially if you don't give them any support, if you don't encourage them, if you don't thank them, if you don't do things that from a human point of view are so critically important. So you'll be emotionally drained over time. It's as simple as that. And inevitably, your health could or will suffer. So I invite you to consider these various aspects. Think to yourself, if you do micromanage, how can you start to extract yourself over time from that? So no longer be involved in looking over people's shoulders all the time, because it's detrimental to them, to you, to the team, and it's just not productive. And you are going to lose your own credibility as well anyway, because people are going to look at you and they're going to say, he or she does not deserve to have the leadership role and position that they have been given. So I invite you, if you do nothing else, and maybe you're not a micromanager, so you may say, well, this is not for me, I don't micromanage. What I would say is that even I, through my own vast experience, have always put in that barometer of, am I going too far with this individual? Am I looking too deeply into that person? Because if you structured the team in a certain way, then quite frankly, you should have others who are leading and managing different members, in which case you don't need to go down to different levels. So maybe micromanagement is too wide and too large, but micromanagement is where you're wanting feedback on a regular basis beyond what might be considered reasonable. The most efficient way is to set up the parameters for when people feed back to you, the parameters for when you want return on the information that you've asked for, the deadlines that you've given. Set all those out. That's what you do as a leader. And then just leave it, let it be. And if or when they come back with incomplete or inaccurate information or whatever, you then make your decisions around that. But you don't ask them constantly. And especially micromanaging very often means you're looking at the little things. As a leader, the little things don't matter. You're looking at the big picture. You're strategic. You're seeing where the next challenge, opportunity lies, not where the everyday little things lie, where you should really have someone else taking care of that anyway. So I hope this has resonated with you and left you with some thoughts and ideas. Please feel free, like I said, to comment, leave your ideas, your thoughts, your feedback. And of course, I look forward to seeing you again. Subscribe to the channel so you know what other videos are coming available. And I wish you all the best on your leadership journey. Thank you.